Yay, we are going live. Hello, hello. Welcome. I am so excited to be here as you all are joining in. Say hello. Let me know how you are doing. Let me know that you can see me and hear me and all of the things. And welcome to the 111 portal. I'm so excited to be coming on here today and to share the information that has been coming through from the angels. There's been a lot that has been going on, and I felt really guided to come on. And of course, I had to choose 1:11 p.m. Pacific time to come on here at on January 11th. So here we are. But of course, if you are joining me from the recording, you can say hello. You can still post it in the comments below. But for those of you who are watching me live, you will see your live chat. I think it's on your right side. It's on the right side for me. I don't know. But regardless, let me know that you are here if you're watching me live or on the recording. And also let me know where you are tuning in from. And I'm so excited to get started with this information today. And so the first question that I have for you that I would love for you to also pop it into the chat is if you feel like you have been initiated these last 11 days. How has the first 11 days of 2023 been for you? I also realized today that this is my first live video of 2023. I mean, minus my Angels Guild membership. I was in there live last week. But aside from that, here on my channel, I don't think I've even been live on my Facebook page. So here we are. Yay! Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hello, Nicola and Domenico from NYC. Yes, girl. Hello, Megan. JS from Texas. Yay! So good to see everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing all of your guys' comments. Hello. I'm not going to call out every single comment because I would just be reading comments all day, but I see you. I see every single one of you joining in. I just looked at the clock and saw it was 1:11, then your live chat popped up. Oh my gosh, I just love that timing. That's so cool. So good. And I am glad that I actually it happened right at 1:11 because sometimes I'm delayed, sometimes technology is delayed, but we are here. Yay. Hello from Cairo. Oh, that's so cool. Toronto, Canada. Yes. Okay, let me see. Hello. Okay, so as we get into this conversation today, and really what I want to share with you in today's conversation is, first of all, just talking a little bit more about the energy right now. Like Jenny just said, it's been a wild, energetic 11-day ride. Yes. One of the things that I think is the key thing here that I think we will all agree, but if not, if you don't agree with this, then let me know. But I think one of the key things here is that the last 11 days, aka the start of 2023, has been nothing like what we probably expected it to be. Am I right? Right? Like, is it just me? I don't know. But nothing like what we expected it to be, right? And for me at least, and what I feel has been kind of like a something that's been felt on a collective level as well to some degree, is that it's been a lot slower moving than what we may have wanted or anticipated or expected, right? Like a lot slower moving, a lot more like slowing down, a lot more kind of tuning in, going within, things coming up. We just had the full moon last week on the 6th. And so there's just been so much, right? Like so much energy. And a big part of these first 11 days has really been this point of reflection for ourselves. And And in the reflection, oftentimes it's old patterns that come up. It's this energy that we have to work through, right? Things for us to release, things for us to look at, things for us like really blatantly staring us in the face. That's like, hey, can't escape this, right? Like really got to look at what's coming up here, what patterns, what beliefs, what fears, all of that kind of stuff is coming up, as well as a reflection in terms of who we have been, right? The things that we have done or created, and then also where we desire to go. And that's been a lot of a lot of this work is really asking us to anchor into our power, is ultimately what this is. It's not just like, hey, let's just reflect on all these things for no reason, right? It's a lot of this energy that is really asking us to, like, when we're faced with old patterns and when we're faced with fears, when we're faced with beliefs, when we're faced with challenges, when we're faced with things not going as we expected them to go, what does it ask of us? Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is asking for us to dig deeper within ourselves to find truth and to find power and to find strength, resilience, right? All of those things. Like, raise your hand in the comments if like you've been challenged in that way, like challenge where it's like, wait a second, I'm feeling so disempowered right now, or feeling so like whatever, and like feeling this call or feeling this pull into kind of understanding more of your power, more of your truth, more of who you are. This is a lot of the work that we've been doing so far inside of the Angels Guild membership community, which has been so incredibly powerful, and which is why Archangel Michael has been the main angel who's been around us this month. Specifically right now for the 111 portal, the Herschel Angel Alexandra is one of the main energy that's coming through to support us with this. And yes, I see everyone raising their hands in the comments. Yes, yes, yes. I totally hear you. I totally see you. I hear you. I'm right there alongside you, raising my hand too. So I'm not just like telling you this, I'm with you in this, right? And so like this is part of the work here. And the reason why, okay, and so I wanna share more like why this is all happening. Why is this coming up for us? Like, come on, 2023, it's a new year. We should, right? Like our mind immediately is like, why this again? Ugh, right? But really, what's happening these first 11 days has been leading us to like this 111 portal is like a catapult. It's like a catapult, and there's an energetic shift that is happening. So, this is one of the things that's a major, we'll call it theme or part of the conversation that's coming through is the energy shift. There's an energetic shift that we now are kind of like, we're just on the brink of it, we're just at the threshold. So, depending on where you're at, depending on what's been coming up, depending on, all of these different things, we're at that brink right now. We're like teetering. Maybe you felt yourself already kind of crossing through the threshold. That's one of the things that kept coming through, that I shared inside of the Angels Guild membership. We did something there for the 111 portal, and it was like, this is the threshold. This is like we're walking through, we're stepping into this energy, right? So you may see it depending on, what's been coming up for you. You either maybe see the threshold right here, right in front of you. You may have like one foot in, you're like, I can feel this renewed energy, but like I'm not fully in it yet. You might just be crossing through the doorway now, like somewhere in this space. Or maybe you see it over here, like you're a little bit more further away, but you see that it's coming. Regardless of what your experience is, this is what we are moving into. This 111 portal represents a threshold that we are crossing, moving out of this time of reflection, this time of facing challenges. Not that we're never going to face challenges again, but really like this energy that we've been in. I saw someone, where did I see it? I saw it briefly. Oh yeah, super triggered. Yes, Domenico saying 2023 has been super triggered. Like whatever triggers and all of those things that have been coming up, it's kind of like we're starting to move past that now through this threshold. And And what's beyond this threshold is really the vision and the connection to who we are meant to be, that's connected, directly connected to what I just said during those challenging moments, during those times, during everything that's been coming up, the energy of that deeper level of our truth and our power and our sovereign being and who we are here to be. Like it's a direct connection to that, right? So it's the vision of who we are becoming, it's the vision of our desires, it's the vision of our truth. This is where we start to actually begin the process of our intentions and what we are creating in 2023. But we're just starting it, okay? So it's not like now, like, let's hit the ground running. And we're still in this process. So one of the key things that I want you to remember with everything that I say in today's video is that it's not just like black and white. It's not just, okay, here I was here, now there, like, let's go, hurry up, let's get out of this energy and into the new thing. It's really allowing yourself to see this as a process, right? Because this energy between today, the on 111 and the new moon, which is coming up on the 21st, this time period is this like transition period, right? Walking through the threshold. We talk about as a threshold, like I'm just going to walk through it, but really it's a process. We give ourselves these days to walk through the threshold, and then as we get closer towards the end of January, that's where we're really going to feel that renewed sense of like momentum and energy and all of these things, right? So during this time, there's a lot that we can do energetically to prepare ourselves. And even after this time, and you know what is being asked of us moving forward is all here to prepare us, to lead us, to guide us into what 2023 is actually meant to be for us, right? So for me, I'm like, 2023 is starting soon. It hasn't started yet, but in all seriousness, it's one of those things where when we can trust in the process and trust in the actual unfolding of how it's all happening, that is where it actually becomes quick. Even though in the moment it feels like it's not, in the moment you're like, what is going on? Why is this happening? Like, what is this energy? And but then it's one of those things where before you know it, you're standing, you're looking around and you're like, oh my gosh, like how did I get here? What's happening here? Do you know what I mean? So this is the key thing that's happening right now. This is where we're at. I'm just going to check in with the comments, and I want to share something that's been coming up specifically and a way in which, so this is one of, like I said, there's energetic things that we can do to support ourselves during this time, right? So as we look forward into the vision and we start to really connect with who we are becoming in this like catapulting energy, like rapid manifestation, catapulting, right? Like that whole energy that's coming through, that is building, we're still building up to it. I want to share something that's been coming up a lot recently for me and like with my clients and the work that I've been doing. And then I'm going to share the kind of the process of what we're being guided to look at right now. But let me just check in with the comments and see if there's anything here. So never heard of Herschel Angels. I have a whole, if you look up or search Alexandra on my channel, like search the name Alexandra on my channel, you will see videos about the Herschel Angels and about Alexandra. I also have information about the Herschel Angels and Alexandra on my blog. So if you just go to ChristinaRocha.com/blog or just the main page and then click the blog section, there's also stuff there. So depending if you want to watch videos or read or both, you can find it. So yeah, just search in my stuff, in my channel or on my website, and you'll find information about Herschel Angels. They're a new realm of angels that step forward. When did they step forward? 2018, I want to say, which is crazy to think that it's already been over for like 4.5 years since they stepped through. or that I've been talking about them and all that. But yeah, Natasha, like definitely go check them out on my channel or my blog. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Dominica saying, hearing Archangel Michael saying, pick up your sword and get back up. Yes, yes, yes. That is totally the vibe. Totally the vibe. And I even felt that today. Like this morning. Okay, let's see. um the first 11 days have been testing my belief system for sure. Yes, 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 yes. Uh Okay, I feel like I have to let go of what other people teach and choose. I feel really guilty because I love your work. Oh, you know what? That's the thing too. Like this is all so connected to our sovereignty, right? Like people are going to share their truth all day long, but at the end of the day, it's what resonates with you, what you feel called towards, what you feel most connected to. And that is one of the most important things for us to really be aware of. Do you know what I mean? Um So, anyways, let me just see something here. Okay. All right. So now talking about what has been coming up over the last, I don't even know when, like probably the month ish, maybe a few weeks. I don't remember. Time is like, what is time? So, one of the things that has been coming up a lot, just in my work and for me, and just in different conversations, and that's really connected to what we are talking about here, is ancestral energy. Who here posted in the chat if you have been aware of ancestral healing, if you have been, kind of curious about it, if you've done any sort of ancestral work, ancestors, ancestral healing, lineage, all of that kind of stuff. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know if that's been coming up for you because it's been coming up for me. Like literally, I feel like, especially in the last couple of weeks, that like that's all we've been talking about. Not all, but it's been something that's come up a lot in the work that I do with my clients. And and one of the things that I've just learned over the years of doing this work for so long is when something comes up over and over and over again in my world, just, through my personal connections and the people that I work with and all of those things, it's something that needs to be looked at. It's something that needs to be addressed on a greater level. And so when I started to ask, like notice this pattern and then ask the angels, like, what is happening? What is this? What is going on? This cannot be a coincidence that this is something that we keep having a conversation about, or that we keep talking about, or that keeps coming up over and over and over and over again, right? And so this is a thing that is coming forward, and really, I think one of the best analogies that came through, and oftentimes the way that the angels give me an analogy is I literally see like a vision or a visual of this, where with ancestral energy, which I'm going to go into what it actually is in just a second. Yes, ancestral healing. What is, okay, that's a great question. I'm going to answer that question, what ancestral healing is and what it is. But essentially, if we go to the analogy, it's it's one of those things where you're walking forward and you're walking on your path, and then it feels like there's this rubber band that's around you, right? Like a rubber band around your waist, and it like creates this resistance, right? It's almost like the rubber band is like being pulled back and someone's holding the rubber band here. And this is actually something that one of the gyms I used to go to, like this was an exercise that we did, the huge like resistance band around your waist, and then someone's holding in the back and you have to like walk forward, creating resistance, making it a lot harder, right? Which is a part of a great workout. But when you're thinking about moving forward on your path and moving forward into your vision, And the catapult that we were just talking about, it makes it a lot harder, right? It makes it so much harder to be able to move forward or feel like you're in a momentum because it feels like there's this rubber band behind you, right? That's like pulling you while you're trying to stretch and move ahead. And the rubber band is creating resistance, and you're just like, oh, okay, I can take each step forward, but it's so hard, right? That's essentially what it feels like. And that's very much connected to ancestral energy. Now, the thing about ancestral energy is that it's not something, I don't want it to make it sound or make it feel like it's something that's constantly there holding us back and all of the things. But one of the key points of understanding with ancestral work and ancestral energy is that it is part of our spiritual, in my opinion, spiritual responsibility when it comes to our healing and growth, meaning that we can't escape it. We're all humans, souls in a human body, but being a human, you have ancestral connection, right? So, to answer the question, what is ancestral healing and what is this ancestral energy in the first place? It's essentially the energetic connection to past generations, right? To our ancestors. And it could be like, and if you think of your lineage, it's essentially anything from like your parents all the way back, so grandparents, great grandparents, great, 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 etc. Right? You see where I'm going with this. So it's any connection in your lineage. And the thing about these connections is that because we are in this physical form, it does get passed down. The reason why it's connected through your lineage and past generations is because it flows through our DNA, right? DNA is passed down through through each generation. And so there's a DNA connection to the energy. Now what happens is that when someone in our lineage, right? So this could be like from 1,000 years ago. It's not specific to like, oh, it just happened to my parents or my grandparents or whatever. It could be great, 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 etc. grandparent. But the point is that anytime someone in the lineage, no matter where it is in the lineage, experiences any form of trauma or any form of something very big that happens in their life or in their life experience that creates an energetic imprint. So essentially, when someone goes through a traumatic experience or a very, very, very challenging hardship or that kind of situation, it creates an energetic imprint because there's so much energy that's involved with it, right? There's so much emotional energy. There's so much that is involved in that experience that it like creates like a like it's like something in the energy, right? If you think of like energy is like stable here, and then boom, something happens and it's like right? And then that person goes through, whatever their experience is after that, but it's like like that jagged line, if you think of it that way, it's there. And so that energetic imprint can be um essentially what happens is it's almost like a memory that stays within the DNA, depending on the extremity of it, and also depending on how much that person then dwells in that energy, right? In the energetic imprint, whether that happened and then they did the work to clear it and to heal or not. And oftentimes with ancestral energy, they did not. So one of the most common ones that we'll see is, of course, around scarcity and that whole energy, right? There's also a lot of traumatic experiences. And so what's important to understand is that even though once the DNA with the energetic imprint in it gets passed down, there's this layer that it's like an undercurrent within our energy that kind of very subtly, or maybe not so subtly, but depending on what it is in the situation, but that is then kind of has an influence in terms of our experiences. It has an influence in terms of our beliefs. It has an influence in terms of our patterns. So if you have recognized or seen a pattern in your family, right? Or even within yourself, where you're like, oh my gosh, like I said I would never do this. And then now look at me, I'm doing this, right? Like I said I would never be like my mother, and now I am, or whatever, like those kinds of things. It's often because there's this underlying current, and often because there's this pattern that was passed down generationally. Okay. And so it influences different patterns, it influences our fears, it influences our behaviors, it influences how open our energy is to being able to receive, or being able to expand, or being able to grow, right? And so, like I said, at some point along the spiritual journey, we come face to face with this, whether we like it or not. And again, the reason why is because we are humans. And so, it's one of those things too. Of course, we have our free will. So, of course, we can choose to work through it and understand this or not. And let's say if past generations kind of like came up against this pattern, but we're like, I don't know how to shift this, or like I'm just stuck in this pattern, and kind of felt disempowered in it, then it will continue down the lineage. Now, one of the things that I keep seeing over and over and over again in my work is that, in just in general, where we are at as a collective in our consciousness, and what I see, what the visionary in me sees in terms of where we are going as a collective, is that this time period right now that we are living in, this evolution, time of evolution that we are in, it is extraordinary. And the reason why is because a lot of us are awakening, not just to who we are as souls, and not to just the spiritual energies that are around us, and having these conversations about angels and guides and the universe and who we are and our purpose and all these things, but we are also coming into a deep, 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 deep connection with our sovereignty, and a deep, deep, deep level of truth in who we are. And a part of that is breaking these chains. And so, one of the things that I've witnessed in doing this work for several years now is that it's almost like we were the chosen ones to break those ancestral patterns. We were the ones who were chosen to end the pattern. We were the ones who were chosen to walk forward and liberate this energy, not just for ourselves, right? And this is I think, in my opinion, is one of the coolest things about ancestral healing, is that it's not just about you. When we work with energy, and if you've probably heard me say this a million times, if you've ever done any sort of like healing with me or anything like that, is that energy is not bound by space or time, right? Energy is not bound by space or time. So the energy, the energetic connection that flows through us, that is anchored in through our DNA, yes, it's passed down that way, which is a physical thing, but also still exists energetically. Because it exists energetically, when we do the healing work in the energy, it heals our lineage, and it influences not just who, like me as Christina, for example, right? But it influences future generations and past generations. Okay. So, this work around ancestral healing and ancestral energy, and really understanding it first and foremost, but then also learning how to work with it, understanding that if this is something that is coming up for you right now, for you to look at, for you to understand a pattern that's like been repeated over and over and over again in your life or in your lineage, that this is something that you have the power to liberate yourself from. And in that liberation, not, again, it's that ripple effect. It's not just about you, even though you are the main benefiter of that, but It's all generations around you, right? It opens up the energy. It's almost like if you think of like this closed off energy because you've been stuck in this pattern, it's like, you're the one who's breaking it for you. You're the one who's breaking it open. You're the one who's like, bam, gone, right? And from there, there's that like infinite possibilities and opportunities that open up for us. You're breaking that. It's like that rubber band, like what I was just saying earlier, the rubber band, that analogy is like you've finally found the scissors or whatever to cut it. And it's like freedom. Like imagine yourself trying to walk and having that rubber band around you and someone's holding in the back and there's this resistance, but you can walk slowly and it's like resistance. And then you find the scissors to cut it. How would that feel? You probably like start running forward because you're so used to exerting this energy to move forward. And then without the rubber band there, you're like, boom, catapult, right? So this is why. So as like I said, whenever I notice patterns or things coming up, I'm always asking the angels, what's going on? What does this mean? Why? Et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things is part of this energy that we are being catapulted into, that's being the foundation is being created right now, right? To catapult us and move us forward in 2023 in the way that it is meant to for us. Like there is so much potential in 2023 beyond what was ever even possible in 2022 or 21 or whatever, going back in time, right? Like 2023 holds so much more of this potential energy. And the reason why is because what we're going through right now, what we're experiencing, what we're being led towards, the challenges that have been coming up, the triggers that have been coming up, like all of that stuff, it is something where it's preparing us. It's preparing us for what is meant to be. And so, our job, if we are being faced with this, our job is to not look away and be like, oh, whatever, like I see that, but I don't want to deal with it right now. I don't know, whatever, I'll come back to it. But actually look it in the face and be like, oh, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this work. Let's do this. Like let's look at this. Let's heal this. Let's free ourselves, right? We have been the chosen ones. And so it's one of those things where when we recognize that, like, I was the one who was chosen, like this energy got passed down to me, not as a way of hindering me or stopping me or slowing me down or whatever, but actually because I was the one who was meant to break these chains. I was the one who was meant to do that. And so when you feel that for yourself, like I'm the one who's meant to do this, I'm the one who's meant to break free, and how that creates a ripple effect, not just for you, but for your future, past, all sorts of generations. It's like what, how, just imagine if we zoom this out for a sec in terms of our collective consciousness, in terms of where we're going as a planet, right? Humanity as a whole. Can you imagine how different things will be? And to think that we are the ones who are starting it, right? Or continuing it or whatever. But it's like it's like you're being passed the torch and it's like, do you want to take the torch? Do you want to walk with this light? Like it's right here for you, right? If you don't want to, okay, it's your free will. Like just leave it here. But you get to walk with this torch. Do you want it? And it's like, yeah, I do. I do want the torch. I do want to hold it. I do want to lead with it. I do want to bring it forward. Okay, cool. This is part of your spiritual responsibility. This is part of your spiritual work. This is part of who you are, who you're meant to be. So, this is such incredible, powerful work that is coming forward right now. And so, if you have been faced or have been looking at, ancestral healing, energy, or this conversation right now is bringing stuff up in you where you're like, oh my God, that's the thing, right? So the way that you know that ancestral energy or ancestral healing is kind of maybe your next step is if you've been looking at a pattern or have experienced a pattern that doesn't seem to be going away or seems to be coming up over and over and over and over and over again, right? It's ancestral healing if I mean, just energetically you feel it intuitively. You're like, "Oh my gosh," like I hear this word and I'm like, "What is going on?" This is activating something inside of me. That right there is a huge indicator too. But really it's about understanding that when this awareness does come into our awareness, it's something for us not to shy away from, but to explore and to see the power of it and to really understand how truly magnificent and powerful we are to be the ones who are chosen to break those patterns for our lineage. And we all get to choose that. We all get to have that opportunity. Like I said, it's something that doesn't necessarily always come up on our journey. It's not like I said, not something that is going to hold you back forever and until you address it. But if it's something that's rising up to the surface, if it's a layer that's being brought forward right now, it means that you get to address it. And so when we look at this energy and if this is something that feels relevant to you right now, then the thing to understand is that when we do this healing work around our ancestral lineage and our ancestral energy, then what happens is that, again, that catapult that we talked about with the 111, this energetic shift that is happening, it's magnified by this type of healing. It's magnified, that catapult, the strength of that catapult and how far I can get you or whatever, is going to be magnified when we're no longer being held back by this rubber band, right? When there's no longer that resistance from the rubber band that's been there, that's like, oh, I'm trying to move forward, but like this rubber band is here. Do you know what I mean? So um so that's what we're working with. This is the energy that we are being guided into. So let me know if you guys have any questions right now about ancestral energy, ancestral healing. Um let me see. Okay. I'm just going to scroll through the comments. Where did I leave off? Let's see. Is the guild the best thing to join to increase our connection with angels who are around us? Because I see them all the time, but can't connect to the advice. Yes. Yes. So the way that the guild works is that we focus on a specific angel. And I mean, there's some months where there's going to be two angels, but minimal, like just a focused connection to the angels, and specifically through different practices and practical tools and ways to work with them. So that's the way in which, that's the most transformative way for us to actually connect and understand their guidance and understand how we work with energy, and guidance that comes through is not like the kind of like robotic or systematic, like I need to do it this way, but actually understanding how it works, and working with them through different tools, practices, and also specific conversations. So yes, I would absolutely recommend the Angels Guild for anyone who wants to deepen their connection with the angels and really begin to understand how to connect with them on this deeper level. Absolutely, yes. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Just starting to get into ancestral healing. Yes. Heard of it as past life hypnotherapy. So past life and ancestral energy there is a difference. It is slightly different. There's similarities, but it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same. So past life is more of like your soul's experiences in different lifetimes, which can also have an effect and also energetically be carried forward, and things that can influence us in this lifetime. Absolutely. But it's different than ancestral energy. The other thing about working with your ancestral lineage and doing that healing work is that you also get to connect with your actual ancestors, which then like support you through the process, which is different. Not that you're not supported with past life stuff, but it's just a different feeling, it's a different connection, which has its own it has its own energy. It's a hard way to explain it. It's just its own thing, which is incredibly powerful. What is the best archangel to work with during this? So that's a really great question, Ashley. And the key thing with regards to ancestral healing and energy is that it kind of depends on what specifically you're working through, like in your lineage. Do you know what I mean? The key angels that I often see coming forward are Archangel Ariel. I do see her coming forward a lot, and I know that I saw it briefly in the comments. Ariel was being mentioned. Archangel Ariel, Archangel Jeremiah, Angel Celeste, Archangel Michael. But I hesitate sometimes to list off like which angel to work with because it's so unique to you in your experience. Do you know what I mean? So if you feel another angel coming forward, I would trust that. But if you're like, I really don't know who to call on right now to support me, then start with those angels, or any of the ones that resonate with you with the one within the ones that I named, because that's going to really help you to at least get started. Okay, let's see. I'm reading your comments in my head. So I appreciate everyone and everything that you guys are sharing. But like I said, if I read all the comments, we would be here all day long. Okay, let's see. Hello, Cherise. I just said the other day I've turned into my mother. Yes, 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 yes. That right there. That right there. Ancestral energy, ancestral healing. 444 in New York City. Well, that was a few minutes ago, but yes, I love that. I love that so much. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So this is a really great question. How can you move the energy and heal when other family won't open up and talk? I love that you asked this, Summer. So the answer to that is that you don't actually need the other people within your family, within your lineage to actually be open to this or talk or whatever in order for you to experience ancestral healing. That's the beauty of it because it's hard, right? Like you're right. Like if they're not going to open up and talk, then what? We're stuck with this. Like that's annoying. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to energy, and then when it comes to this work, it's really just about you. It's about you who is open to this. It's about you who is willing. It's about you who desires it, right? So you're the one who's going to initiate that energy healing, the ancestral healing. Now, what happens is that if we do have family members or people around us, in our lineage who are very like, look the other way, no, I'm not open to this, never in my life, whatever, that kind of vibe, what happens is that we don't need them to change or to shift in order for us to experience that healing. What happens though is that when we do initiate the ancestral healing and when we bring that forward, it can help it because like I said, it's going to influence the whole entire lineage. And so for someone who's who has their patterns, who has their things, your ancestral healing work that you did for your ancestors, for your lineage, it will help excuse me, it will help create a space around that specific person, let's say, that will facilitate or alleviate or somehow influence for them to kind of nudge them in that direction of being able to choose that for themselves. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we cannot force healing onto anyone, right? Like we can't force someone to decide to do healing because that's not going to work. Everyone has their free will. And so even though it's almost like you've opened up the space and you're like, hey, like you're not saying this to them literally, but energetically, it's like, hey, like, oh, I can breathe a little bit better, right? But they still have to be the ones to choose to fully allow that experience into their own life. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like if we want to go back to the rubber band analogy, right? It's like you found the scissors, right? So we're talking about this rubber band that's around you that's creating resistance that's like hard to move forward. And the ancestral healing work is like you finding the pair of scissors to cut it and be like, I'm cutting this. I'm breaking free. Look, I found the scissors. And then you show it to your family member and you're like, look, I found the scissors. Like, here, break yourself free. And they're like, no, I don't want the scissors. That's cool, but like, nah. You know what I mean? So it's like the scissors are right there in front of their face and the opportunity is right there, but they might still choose to keep the rubber band around them. And that is their choice. That's their free will. And we can't force anyone to take the scissors and to cut the rubber band. And we can't really necessarily do it for them. I mean, even if you tried to go and take the scissors and cut their rubber band for them, they would, because they're not in the energy of fully receiving or accepting it, they would still keep the rubber band around them, even if it's like, what are you doing? Take it off. I cut it off. I set you free. What are you doing? They're like, no, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? So that's how it works, or that's how it looks energetically until they decide to take the scissors and they're like, oh, I'm going to cut it myself. Oh, I can break myself free right now. The scissors are right here. Oh, you know, the work was done for me, not for me, but and that's not necessarily the stream of thought that would come to them, but it's like your work in the ancestral healing is finding the scissors or creating the scissors. And the scissors are there, but they still have to choose. Okay. I'm so glad that was helpful. Yay, yay, yay. Let's see. Okay, so Scott is saying, how does that work with adoption? Does the adopted child become part of ancestry? That's a really great question, Scott. So, in terms of adoption, it's still going to be like, so okay, does the adopted child become part of ancestry? Okay, so I'm just like trying to see the question, what you're specifically asking. So, if let's say you have adopted a child, how does that work with ancestry? So the child will still have like their ancestral lineage won't necessarily be connected to your ancestral lineage because of the DNA. Do you know what I mean? Like that part is still going to be separate and different, right? If I'm understanding this correctly. So that's going to be different because it is we do have to look at it from the perspective of where is the DNA coming from type of thing, you know? So in that regard, it is separate. However, what I hear coming through right now is that the other thing to understand is that even though same thing with the analogy that I just shared with like the rubber band and the scissors and kind of like you gotta take the scissors and you gotta cut it for yourself. Like no one can do it for you and we can't do it for anyone else. When we have an adopted child, knowing that, if I did my ancestral healing work and like it's going to support my lineage, but not necessarily for this child. However, the environment that you create for the child and the environment they're in, the energy that they're dwelling in will absolutely support them in being able to see the pair of scissors for themselves and to do that work for themselves. Do you know what I mean? So it's similar in that way where it's kind of like the environment that you create for the child can help support them in understanding or recognizing or seeing like, oh, I need to find the pair of scissors. There's a pair of scissors that exists here. And let me, do that work. And depending on, the age of the children, depending on the situation in your work as the parent, as the guardian, get to you get to also support them in like leading them. Do you know what I mean? Because when we have like a parent-child relationship, it's also our job as the parent, both like obviously literally, but also energetically, that we're leading the child, right? So you have this special role where you also, as the parent, get to kind of like have a more direct influence because you're like, hey, like look over here, like this way, right? But at the end of the day, it's still the same thing where we can't force our children to take the pair of scissors and cut the rubber band off. They have to do it themselves, you know, but we can definitely influence them with the energy around us. Do you know what I mean? I hope that helps. Let me know. Okay, let's see. This is my confirmation to work on that part of me. Yes, Charisse, I love that. Um, let's see. Ashley's saying Gabriel. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, cool. Um, Love my mom more than anything, but every time I sound like her, I cringe so hard. Yes, I totally hear you, Alex. And you know, that's the thing. Like when we notice patterns like that, it gets to be an opportunity for us to be like, wait a second, what is this? Right? And like I cringe so hard. I totally hear you and can relate to that. But it's one of those things where we get to like observe and witness and be aware. And we're like, oh, wait a second, like this is something for me to look at and that I get to change, right? I don't have to stay in this thing, in this pattern. I don't have to stay in the same flow of energy of how my mom was or my dad or my grandparent or whatever, you know? So, yeah. Um but yeah, you're welcome, Scott. Okay, so the last thing that I will share with you all, let me just make sure that I said everything that I wanted to say. Okay, yes, yes, I did. And I love your guys' questions. So if you have any other questions, especially for those of you who are on the recording related to this conversation, post them in the comments below. I will come back and answer you in there. But the other thing that I wanted to share that I'm so, so excited about, this all inspired something. Because like I said, whenever something keeps showing up over and over and over and over again, I see it as a greater kind of collective need or desire or something for us to really pay attention to and look at. And so, what I've been guided to create is a course that is called Ancestral Alchemy. And I'm so excited because in this course, we're really going to be going into the depth and into the details of what it means to be working with your ancestors, to be understanding your ancestral lineage, to be healing the ancestral lineage, right? And to give you the tools and to become empowered to be able to do this for yourself, right? And to guide other people around you into that if that's something that you desire to do. So right now, this is like pre-sale that's happening right now. Okay, so Ancestral Alchemy is going to be starting at the end of the month, starting at the end of January. And like I said, it's something that we're going to dive deep into through different topics and conversations throughout that time together to really help you to dive deep into this whole topic and conversation with the tools, with the knowledge and the tools and the practice, right? So you're not just like, here's what you do, okay, bye. You know, if you've taken any of my courses before, one of the things that I absolutely love that's always an integrated part of it is that I channel the energetic transmissions and channel the healings, channel the guidance around the healing work for you, right? So that you can listen to it, you can receive it, and you can feel that sense of support and not feel like, did I connect to the right angel? Are they here? Are they supporting me? You know, all of that kind of stuff. So right now, because we are in pre-sale mode for Ancestral Alchemy, you can join at a very exclusive price of 111, which is insane because this course is going to go very deep and there's going to be a lot that we're going to be covering. And the price is going to go up to 333 on Friday. So already you can see that it's like you get it a third off from where it's going to go up on Friday. So if this conversation is something that you are like feeling, you're like, yes, please. I want more. You know, I'm gonna be releasing more details around it on Friday, but as this initial pre-sale, this initial like I'm all in type of vibe for that, you get at a really discounted rate on pre-sale. Okay. So I just posted the link for Ancestral Alchemy in the chat. So you can go, and I pinned it inside of the chat. And so, I mean, there's not, I usually say all the details are there, but really there's not that much detail, except that's the button where you sign up and you're in at that price. You get lifetime access. It's going to be a live course that I teach. And then you get lifetime access to all of the recordings. So you don't have to, a common question I get is, what if I can't make it live? What if I can't make it to the live calls or whatever? And that's okay, because one, energy is not bound by space and time. So anything that we do energetically or talk about is all in the recording. And then second, you get lifetime access to it. So you can just revisit it over and over again. And then third, we have a Facebook community. So whenever I do live courses, there's always a Facebook group for it. And in the Facebook group, you can come in, ask your questions, receive guidance, receive support, even after the fact. Even if you didn't come to the live call, you can still come and receive it. Okay. So that's the details for now until Friday. But if you want to join in at this special price, you can do that there. Now, okay, let me see. The other question here, is that involving cords of deceased relatives too, or just the living? Yes. So when it comes to ancestral healing, it is all generations within your lineage. So it could be from like 1,000 years ago, relatives from 1,000 years ago, that would be connected, and that where we would do the healing work and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's not just the living, is essentially the answer to your question. It's deceased ones too. It's all generations. So yes. Yes. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm so excited. But that's what we're doing. This is the vibe of, what's coming up right now with this portal energy, with what we're stepping into, to really, really, really launch ourselves into one of the most amazing, magnificent, most powerful year ahead. And honestly, we are just getting started. If we could just erase the timeline that is the calendar that tells us it's this date or this thing or whatever, like, we would just be so much more free, I feel, because the calendar is just whatever. It just helps us to keep track of the day of the week, I guess. But even then, if we could just erase it, it would, I feel like it would just be so much more free. But the year ahead is going to be amazing, and I'm so excited. And if you're joining me for this course, I cannot wait to see you in it. We're going to be working in it for about 3 weeks. I mean, it's not obviously not like every single day in the 3 weeks, but over a 3-week period, we're going to be meeting multiple times to go through the work. So it gives us time to really like dive in and integrate and be in it, but also it's not a very long course, if that makes sense. Yes, you are so welcome. I cannot wait. And those of you who are inside of the Angels Guild, by the way, you should have received an email with a discount code. So those of you who are considering the Angels Guild and you want to sign up for both, like, I would sign up for Angels Guild first and then do the Ancestral Alchemy, FYI. So anyways, that is that. If there's any other questions, let me know. Oh yeah, I did want to, let me just quickly post the link to the Angels Guild in case that is something that came up during this conversation. So if you are interested in joining the Angels Guild, those of you who are already in it, check your email. If you are about to join, in order to get the discount and just be part of the Angels Guild. By the way, in the Angels Guild today, I released a energy transmission for the 111 portal, and I just have to say that it is probably one of the most amazing powerful things that I have created. Just saying that. Just gonna plug that in there. So even if you join just to receive the 111 portal energy transmission that I shared in there, it's so worth it. But then you also get a discount for ancestral alchemy. So it's like 2 in 1. So, anyways, if you are just going to you are just joining the Angels Guild now, then you will find the discount code inside of the course platform. It's going to be added in there for you. So that is it for today. Oh my gosh, it's 2:11 right now. Exactly 1 hour. Look at that. Like I just saw my time thing go like 1000000. The start of something amazing, right? Like the new beginning, new cycles, all of the things. I just love the angel numbers that are showing up today. You guys are all so amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your beautiful questions and your energy and all the things. So I cannot wait to see you wherever I see you, whether it's back on another YouTube live, in my Facebook, Instagram, Angels Guild, Ancestral Alchemy, whatever it may be. I am just so thrilled and so excited. And as always, I'm sending you so much love and angel blessings. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye.